Jordan understood something that most people today don't. People need to get away from all the politics and division, whether it's with sports, comedy, music, or whatever. The majority of us just want a diversion to turn off all the noise. But when large companies start fighting the culture wars and ignoring the mission, which is business, people start looking for alternatives. It's that simple. And good leaders understand that. They know it's not worth sinking into the woke muck just to make a handful of people happy. No one's ever happy. And no one ever respects people that cave. Today, the streaming service Netflix took a stand, putting out a memo to its employees, 11,000 of them, saying they aren't going to take tiny little stands over every single piece of content they put out. They're not going to cave to the left, who complain about this comedian or this actor. They're just going to go about their business. And if you're not happy with it, well, maybe you should find yourself a new job. Quote, "Not everyone will like or agree with everything on our service. While every title is different, we approach them based on the same set of principles. We program for a diversity of audiences and tastes, and we let viewers decide what's appropriate for them versus having Netflix censor specific artists or voices. If you'd find it hard to support our content, Netflix may not be the best place for you." What an amazing idea. Letting the viewers decide. Thank you. It's about time companies started treating us like adults. This memo was a direct response to some whiny employees who just a few months ago were protesting and crying over the company airing a Dave Chappelle special, all because he made some jokes they didn't like.
Canceled people that are more powerful than me. We canceled J.K. Rowling. My God, J.K. Rowling wrote all the Harry Potter books by herself. She sold so many books, the Bible worries about her. And they canceled her because she said in an interview, and this is not exactly what she said, but effectually, she said gender was a fact. And then the trans community got mad as they started calling her a TERF. I didn't even know what that was. But I know that trans people make up words to win arguments.
Some of these Netflix employees were offended.
It's okay to laugh, but you're sparking hate conversation.
The problem is that as trans people, we have very limited rights, all right?
We have a whole piece of content on Netflix called Disclosure that is, for trans people, by trans people, that explains how comedy and content such as Dave Chappelle's is harmful.
You don't have a right in this country to not be offended. If you don't want to work for a company, find a new job. These people were trying to twist the boss's arms into getting their way. And they didn't care if the company ended up having a worse product or less revenue. All they cared about was forcing their lack of sense of humor on the rest of us. But Netflix, they couldn't care less. They're telling their employees, we're not picking sides. You can go out and fight in the culture war if you want, but if it keeps you from doing your job, go work somewhere else. If you don't want to watch Dave Chappelle, watch something else. You don't have to keep me from watching it. It's smart corporate business. We put it out there, and then you can watch whatever. Remember when Major League Baseball wanted to make a political statement last year by moving their All-Star game out of Georgia, all because of a fake news story about a voting bill? Well, they ended up moving to Colorado, where voting laws are actually stricter. But that didn't matter. It was just for show. And Atlanta, Georgia lost out on millions in revenue, and Major League Baseball lost out on the ratings, recording their second worst rating number of all time. When politics gets into America's favorite pastime, it's way past time to turn the channel. Hey, look at Disney. They stuck their neck out for kindergarten teachers to talk to 6-year-olds about sex and transsexuals. Huge mistake. Not only is it inappropriate, but it was a horrific business decision. And now Florida's stripping Disney of all the special treatment they get in Orlando. Netflix isn't making the same mistake, and neither did Spotify. Remember the mob went after Spotify's most popular podcast guy, Joe Rogan? Spotify got a whole lot of heat to fire their biggest revenue driver, but the head of Spotify stood his ground and told his employees he wasn't caving, saying this: While I strongly condemn what Joe Rogan has said, and I agree with his decision to remove past episodes from our platform, I realize some will want more. And I want to make one point very clear. I don't believe that silencing Joe is the answer. Good leaders don't cave. They pause, they reflect, and then they do what's best after careful consideration. But these corporate leaders are stuck with a younger generation that just feels so entitled to getting their way. If one thing goes wrong, or if one thing makes the slightest person a bit uncomfortable, they launch a corporate jihad. Joe Rogan actually put it on his podcast this way this week. Watch.
A friend of mine who's an employer, she employs people, and she was saying that, like, some of her employees are saying, I need a mental health day today. She's like, you're not sick. Get the to work.
Right.
What are you talking? You want to get paid for this mental health day? Show the up. Right. We're not talking about your parents just died in a car accident. No, you have a high level of anxiety today. You know, it's this Roe versus Wade thing. I saw it in the news, and I need a mental health day. Right. You. Show up at work. Show up at work and work harder.
You can get a mental health day if someone dies, not if Hillary loses. The Chinese, who are trying to take over the world, don't take mental health days because they use the wrong pronoun. This is a competitive world. Americans can't afford to go soft. Here's Elon Musk on that.
I think there will be some very strong companies coming out of China. There's just a lot of super talented, hardworking people in China that are strongly believe in manufacturing, and they won't just be burning the midnight oil; they'll be burning the 3 a.m. oil. So they won't even leave the factory, type of thing. Whereas in America, people are trying to avoid going to work at all.
We're in an economic war with the Chinese. This lazy corporate culture war is going to make us lose this economic war. So we hope more companies follow in Netflix's footsteps. As Calvin Coolidge once said, the business of America is business. So let's all go to work, stop complaining, and then go home, have a drink, and watch Jesse Watters Primetime.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.